Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Triumphant Radio Show here at 108 Praise Radio, where we are always voicing the gospel. Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to be with you tonight. We have an awesome show prepared for you. I mean, it's going to get a little bit warm in here if it's not already. I have an amazing guest tonight, but before I get to my guest tonight, I want you to make sure that you take a pen and a piece of paper or type in your phone and write down the number to call in tonight. We need some women and men to call in as we begin to share on this topic tonight. The number is 770-988-6461. Hey, right now, go ahead on your phone and share, like, send, pass, tag this show tonight because it's really going to bless some people tonight. It may even open up some wounds for some people, but you know what? God is a healer. God's going to take care of everything. It's going to be okay, and that's why we're talking about it tonight. And sometimes subjects get a little bit tough, but you know what? This is what we should be talking about. This helps other people overcome and be set free. This is the Triumphant Radio Show, isn't it? Yes, it is. So we're talking about being triumphant. And so I'm really excited about tonight. We have some giveaways that we're going to give away tonight, some books. So make sure that you are tuning in for this first and second half of the show tonight. But we're going to go right into it because I'm really touched by the subject tonight, and you'll understand as we get into it a little bit. My guest here, a beautiful inside and outside woman that's sitting to my right and your left. I want to welcome to the show Melissa January.
Hi.
I'm so happy to have her tonight on the show. I won't go into detail of how I met this beautiful woman, but we were in the same vicinity at a certain place. And I saw, and there was something about her spirit that drew me to her, something that was compassionate, very kind. She was the same way every time I saw her, always had a smile on her face, always saying hello. I mean, just the whole fruit of the spirit type of person, despite anything. You would never know anything was going on. You'd never know if there was a bad day she was having, because she always made sure to make sure everybody around her was feeling good. And I said, oh my God, Lord, there is something about this girl. She is so cool. What is it? So the more and more I began to talk with her, I found out that she wrote a book. I said, an awesome book. And I said, oh my God, really, an author? Well, I know a lot of authors. What's your book about? What is this going about? And we're going to get to that in a minute. But I'm going to tell you, I got this book one day, and I finished this book in probably maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days at the max. I could not put it down. I went through every emotion there was. I went through smiling. I went through fear. I went through tears. I went through sadness. And I went through my past. And that's what got me. I went through my past. I went through things that I could relate to. And I began to understand why I felt something from this young lady. I was like, oh my God, it's because there's something we can connect to, we can relate to. And what she's putting out there for the world to see is setting women and men free. It's bringing them to a place, not only is she being so transparent in the book, but it's bringing them to a place where they can know, one, that they're not alone, but also they can realize that there is hope, there is triumph after trials. And so I'm excited to get ready to talk to you about what that is all about. But I want to start with sharing something with you. You know, in the state of Georgia, and I got this off of the web, so if you want to correct my data, please go on the web. But 1 in 7 and 1 in 7 women and 1 in 18 men are stalked. I got details that 15.5 million children witnessed domestic violence at least once in the past year. And these statistics are from 2017. That's just last year. So 2018 statistics are not out for the state here in Georgia, which is where we're headquartered at. There's suicides that are related to it that I talked about. Nationally, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have experienced severe physical violence by an intimate partner. Severe violence meaning hit with a fist, hard, beaten, slam, whatever. those terminologies are as you read the statistics, but at some point in their lifetime. So this is not something we're talking about women. We're talking this about women and men. This is something that affects women and men across the world. And the reason why I'm glad that we're talking about it tonight is because some of us don't have time to wait till October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, to talk about it. And I'm glad that we have awareness months for so many things in our nation, but there are things that need to take place and go on ongoing. And so I'm thankful that there's a platform still available where we can talk about it and share about it, because right now there's a man or a woman going through something. But I want you to meet my guest and really hear some information about her, because it's going to amaze you. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Triumphant Radio Show here at 108 Praise Radio. I have an awesome guest tonight, Melissa January. We're going to talk about what is inside of this book. We're going to talk about some personal testimonies. But let me tell you, she's not from here. She's not from here. She's from Germany. Whoop, whoop. So, Melissa, I want you to tell our viewers and our listeners, who is Melissa? How did you get from Germany to here?
Well, long story short, I was married. I was married to what I thought the love of my life, and that brought me here. From that marriage, I have a beautiful child, which he's now 12 years old. But this marriage brought me from trial to triumph, pretty much. And so I left home, which is miles and miles away, to come live the beautiful life in the United States, which I thought, but which really did never happen for me at that time. Let's just say that. Because clearly now I know exactly why this happened. And now through this whole journey, I found my purpose, which now is more powerful, it's more, I could never imagine being the woman that I am today without going through domestic violence. Right. And the reason why I want to share is because I never thought it was me. I never thought it would happen to me. Matter of fact, growing up, I was the tomboy. I was the chick that no guy wanted her for a girlfriend. They wanted her as a buddy. So, playing in the mud, fighting and stuff. I was in taekwondo. I enjoyed all the rough things. Yeah. So when I look back that this really happened to me, it's sometimes still hard to digest today. Right. Because I was never the type to, weakness. And I had to understand that it has nothing to do with you. It does have nothing to do with you as a person. So if you are a domestic violence survivor, victim, it does not have anything to do with you. It's the other person. And, I'm just glad to be here today to even be able to talk about it, because there was times where I didn't know if I was going to be here, and I'm sure we're going to get into that more later. But yeah, that's my journey from Germany to ATL, which I made a pit stop in Texas. That's where all the madness happened. Yeah. And like I said, by the grace of God, I'm here today and I'm blessed. Yeah. And domestic violence can happen to anyone.
Yeah. And it really can. We are both victims of domestic violence,
yes.
So we understand what that's about. It's more than just physical. It's emotional. It's mental. And sometimes people that don't know that about you or us,
yes.
It causes them to question maybe certain things about us or how
yes.
we handle life. Where we're maybe passionate about something because we made it through. And I've realized that when you go through a traumatic situation and God begins to show you your identity again and your purpose, you become passionate about things because those are the things that help you survive.
Exactly.
And I know, and share with the viewers, I know in some of your bio, it talks about how you've gone from, and we can relate to this, pretending to be brave to being truly brave and honest with yourself. How have we pretended as a victim to be brave while we were going through that trauma with that person who made us feel like we were less than? What was that like for you? Was that difficult? Did you see a way out? Did you not see a way out?
At one point, I didn't see a way out anymore. Being from Germany and, not having anything here, basically, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my passport was taken away from me. My there was no phone access, there was no internet, there was nothing. There was no outside world contact for me at some point where I was in such a dark place where I really didn't think I was going to come out. So with that happening, I actually, was trying to commit suicide. And that was a dark place that I don't wish on anybody. Once again, I never thought I was going to do that. But I was looking for an easy way out at some point because I didn't see nothing but darkness. And I was trying to commit suicide by taking a whole bunch of painkillers. And there was a very dark place. I was at a very dark place at that point in my life. And now, to see that I'm still here and still breathing, that's a blessing. I suffer from health issues because of that, what I did to my body. And that was a lesson learned for me. And that's why the Triumph journey is still going on for me, because I deal with this almost on a daily basis. So for me to speak out is pretty much to awaken you that, first of all, no man should ever have that much power over your life. Second of all, you can definitely make it out. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Matter of fact, dealing with domestic violence will still have its past with you even when you move forward. So there's still things that you're going to go through. But just know you can make it. Like, you can make it on the other side. And matter of fact, God says, turn your mess into a message. Turn your trial into triumph. Turn your test into a testimony. And that will give you peace. That will give you freedom. That will release some of this pain that you're carrying with you on a daily basis. So actually, me speaking out was healing me more than anything. Because first of all, what I found out that I wasn't by myself. Matter of fact, I met a lady that looks like me, she acts like me, and that what gave me strength, to move forward. Sometimes we need to hear it from somebody else. Sometimes we need to see somebody that looks like us so we can relate. I had to meet you to know that even though I never thought you was going through it, but now it did make me stronger, because guess what? We worked in the same field. Right. She is beautiful. She has a wonderful, amazing spirit. And so God doesn't make mistakes. No. So just know you can definitely make it on the other side.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And if you're listening tonight, I just want you to grab that in. If you know of somebody, or if you yourself are going through some type of traumatic or abusive situation, there is a way out. There is a way to get through it. Of course, we don't have so much time on the show to go through every detail, but that's why we're on the show and we have our contact information so that you can hear and understand and begin to work your way from that situation. However, this is not just for someone who's a victim or going through. This is just for the people. This is for you. This is for the church. This is for the workplace. This is for people that are around people every day. Because you never know who's going through a situation, and you have to be careful where you place your thoughts or your judgment on people without really knowing them. And what happens is, you talked about being stripped of identity. A person, a woman can strip that from a man can strip that from a woman, the identity of yourself, to make you so weak. I grew up in the church, but during my season of that affliction, I began to question who I was, and so many people or other women like us probably did the same thing. Or if you're going through, question who you are, and you forget, because somebody has put that much torment and pain in you. And it's almost like they say, when a woman decides to get on her knees and pray, oh, get ready, because that means she done found out who she is, and it is on. It's game time. We're getting out of here.
That's right.
We're getting out of here. and I thank God that we've had the opportunity to not only connect, but think through the things that we've been through, and to realize, okay, how do I get out of here? I was in a place where I had to think, how do I get out of this? And so many, at the time, the persons that, came at me were surprised that I made my way out, or wanted to get out, or got out. So that tells a mentality of some of the people in this world, or men, but women too. So again, it goes both ways, men and women, and it's so sad. And that's why it's so important for us not to judge, but to love, to try to understand people, embrace them, and really share and speak with them with the love of Christ, until you really know who and what they've been through, and the details of it. I don't want you to know every detail. You know why? Because I want you to read the book. I want you to read the book, and when you read the book, you're going to be like me. You will not put it down, and you will be taking this to work on your lunch break to try to finish the book. But it's blessing other people's lives, and it has changed her life dramatically. At this point, let's see, you're an author. You're a public speaker. We've even had an appearance together. You were recently somewhere a couple months ago that we went to. Just in this community icon that's out there, traveling around, sharing her story, and doing awesome things. And you're also a model. Can you talk to them about being a model? How does being a model connect with this? Because I heard you conversating with somebody before. Is conversating a word? Yeah, no, that's conversating, not a word. Okay. Talking to someone before about this and modeling, but what modeling has done for you.
Yeah, so modeling has definitely brought me back to reality, meaning like modeling has given me an opportunity to feel like a woman again. Modeling is not only what you see on the outside. It's not the makeup that you wear. It's what you feel on the inside. There's a certain confidence that comes with becoming a model. And I truly felt like at that time in my life where I was able to just find myself just a little bit. There was still days and there was still, a lot of insecurities where I did not feel, I looked like a model, or where I wasn't as confident. There were a lot of shows that I did where I was totally not feeling it. And, I would leave the show and cry. But then in the end, there were shows where I would say, like you say nowadays, I killed it. People who applauded you for coming out on the stage, and, you was on a higher up runway where instead of the abuser looking down on you, people actually looked up to you. That's where I felt good. That's why I was like, you know what, this is definitely a journey, but modeling was definitely a part of me where I felt that was my first step on how to become a woman again. Becoming her. Melissa used to be very confident, very fun-loving. Oh my God, I love to have fun. Like, I have a great sense of humor. And like I said, all of this was gone. I just felt worthless. I just felt like, you've been stepped on so many times. There's nothing for you to come back up. And modeling definitely helped me to get back to my womanhood, if I may say so.
So like building your self-esteem.
Yes, really totally. And from the inside out, because there's a lot of, when you get told 1,000 times that you're ugly and that you're fat and you're just unattractive, you start believing that.
Yeah.
And you looking at yourself in the mirror like, yeah, you're a really ugly girl. I mean, like, what is it that you can do? Starve yourself, lose weight, work out, whatever it was never good enough. And at some point, you're starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
You definitely do. And so, like I said, having people look up to me, I think that in itself gave me life. That was just like, wow, I must do something right.
That's powerful. But that's amazing. And especially if you're a mother and you have daughters, or if you have a son and you notice something different about them, or they're introverted more, or you see a self-esteem issue. I have found out when you do things like that, and when you bring out the gift in yourself or for that child, how it helps them heal past those pains. For me, it was dance and other, activities that I enjoyed to do to keep me going and focused on what's right, the right things in life, what made me feel better again. And unfortunately, when you go through different types of abusive situations, it makes you draw in. It makes you become that introvert, or, maybe not as connected. And so before, we judge and talk about why are they not doing this, or why don't they respond, or why is that? Well, maybe there's something about their life we need to learn about. People don't know our lives, to the detail. People don't know your life. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Triumphant Radio Show here at 108 Praise Radio. If you have been involved, or you're connected with any form of abuse as a man or a woman, we want to hear from you. I want you to call in to the show tonight at 770-988-6461, because it's more than just saying, I got hurt. It affects your entire life. And not only does it, as Melissa shared with us earlier, how it can go from a place where you become healed from it, or you're healing from it, but it's a journey, because there's still residue of those things that happen to you or us
Yes.
in our past that may still come up or spark a nerve or something that we still have to be challenged with, but we fight it, to continue moving on and to keep inspiring others. And I know that's one thing that I love about women ministries in terms of, saying, hey, I can't just talk about it. I've been about it. I know what it's like. So I can give you the real nuggets about it versus saying I read in a book or I went to a conference. Now I want to do a conference, but I have no idea what it's like to go through the different pains and challenges of isolation, of being alone, of going through abuse, etc. And so if you have been in that situation or you are connected, I want you to call in. We really want to hear from you at 770-988-6461 because we don't just want to make this a once-a-month thing. We want to make topics like these when we're dealing with healing and deliverance and restoring our hearts and our souls and getting back to a place and learning nuggets to move forward in life. We want that an ongoing thing. The word says live life and live life abundantly. It didn't say live life in a cave and stay there. When Jesus brought Lazarus from the dead, he brought him back alive, not to go back to the grave and stay dead. When God brings us alive, he wants us to stay alive. He wants us to breathe again and live again and do again. And that's the beauty about not only my guest today, but about so many men and women that have gone through some torment situations, but they made it out. And we've got to hear your story. And even if we don't hear all the details in your story, we just need to know that there's still hope. Someone's looking for hope. Someone's looking, how do I get out of this? I don't want to call the phone number. How do I get out? Yes, that's real. I don't want to go to the shelter down the street. How do I get out? Because the first thing we talk about is a phone number and a shelter. But there's so much more deeper than that some people may not be able to get to that phone and that shelter. How can we help? And no, we don't have all the answers on the panel today, but there are answers. There is a way. There's something that can be done. And many of you that are listening and watching today, you know of some things. And sometimes we have to step out of our comfort zone or of our place of our norm, what our world is, and step out and be of service and help to somebody that's in need in a different place than where we're at. That's service right there,
Amen.
And so when speaking of service, you founded MEKEI. Pronounce it for me.
It's Makai.
Makai.
Yes.
Talk to us about Makai.
So pretty much I came up with Makai. Me and my then boyfriend, we was thinking about an idea, and I always had that within me that I wanting to help others. And so with being a domestic violence survivor, it was kind of hard in the beginning to talk about it, but once I started getting used to it, and the lady that I met actually, who was also a domestic violence survivor, which her name is Tamiko Lowry Pugh, she was a certified life coach. And I said, if I'm really wanting to help someone, I need to be strategically more correct. I need to know what I'm talking about. As you guys can hear, I have an accent and I'm from Germany. So, a lot of the things there are self-taught, but also I wanted to know how strategically can I really help somebody get from A to B to C to D. And so even becoming a life coach in itself, it has changed my life. You don't always have to build a business. Sometimes it's just good to know how to motivate yourself when you are so low, how to just get back up when you fall. How they say you fall 8, you get up 9. And it's so important to even be able to coach yourself. Because like I said, this is a journey and you're still going to go through it. So I learned ways to motivate myself. I learned ways so I won't get depressed. I learned ways where I won't stay down. And what a better way to help somebody else. So basically, I created Makai to help others overcome obstacles, overcome challenges. So this is not only for domestic violence survivors. My business is for anybody that ever went through anything and want to get back up. Even if it's just a simple idea, I have come to the point where I'm now able to see things differently. Life is possible. It's not impossible. It's I am possible. And going through that journey has taught me that there's so much more out there. Oh my God, it's so much more. And for you, everybody should know that we all have a purpose, meaning we all have a story. I know it for a fact because since I've been here, I have been sharing my story and I have been listening to stories. And some people have a worse story than mine. But always know if you are able to share your story, that means you have a bigger purpose that's behind this. And usually it's God showing you through that obstacle that you can make it. So what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So for me, it was a great way to start a business which I always wanting to own a business. I always had an entrepreneurial mindset. So my coaching company, currently I'm revamping it because I'm always on a journey. I am getting into fitness now, and it starts with your health, because without your health, there is nothing that you can do. With me being a survivor of suicide, if I may say so, I have some health conditions. So those health conditions has taught me, once again, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So being in a coma, in and out, I'm still here. So there's so much more. I couldn't even believe I could take my body the way it is today. So there's so much more coming. But yeah, Mekei, Mekei. Look out for it. It's more stuff coming towards that. And yeah, I came up with Mekei to, like I said, create more possibilities for people, even everyday people, because I am not nobody special. There was just something that happened to me, and that's part of my past, but I turned it into passion, and now I want to help you.
That's beautiful. That's phenomenal. When just what you said, you said I'm not anybody special. It's just I've had something in my past, but now I want to help you, and that's your passion. And I think that's, we can both we have that in common, because we're passionate about helping women overcome so many different obstacles in their life, from self-esteem, from not just abuse, but the different things that encompass a woman. Not just a woman in ministry, a woman. Woman on the street, a woman wherever she's at, because we can relate to it. And I think that's why, and I think that's where that passion comes in, and it feels good. But one thing I noticed too, sometimes we have to look and see who we support, because you actually help another woman heal when you support her. You actually are a contributing factor to her continuing on that journey to strengthen, to be restored, to feel better about herself, to do life, to push her to say, no, you're not staying down, you're getting right up. We have so many terms nowadays talking about we're boss women and we're this and this and that. But who's really boss? Boss is the one that continues to help other women. That's a boss. Because on your job, what you got? A boss. So a boss is another woman helping another woman stay up, stay on her grind, stay hustling, stay doing the right thing, stay in her relationship with the Lord, and continuing to strive to do and be the best she can be. And so that, to me, it's not the fact that you can own a business and you're making all this money. It's the fact that you know how to build other sisters up, no matter what level you're at, no matter what's going on with you. That's what it's all about. But we have so much more to talk about. That's just a nugget about my guest tonight here on the Triumphant Radio Show here at 108 Praise Radio. Listen, we're going to have some callers to call in back when we call back at 770-988-6461. We want you to call in. We have some things to talk about. We are not done yet. We have about 30 to 60 seconds of a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
What you walk around with that lean cup phone? Is it cause you higher, you wanna look like a gangster? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I'm big fan, what you hear? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I'm big fan, what you hear? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I'm big fan, what you hear? Ready for the glitter and the gold? Now you wanna use cussing in your rapping on Facebook, but ain't no such thing as don't halfway crook. You either Christian or you not, either stand or get dropped, or you could be just like swine, go out there and eat slop. I refuse to let one of y'all come in God nation, thinking that you gon' change it. That right there's abomination. God word don't change, no, His word don't change. You a Christian first, look great, and I say it in your face. Just remember that it's blood on your hands and you gon' own it. Dating and business forever, it is God over money. I'm only saying what Christians thinking, but scared to say it. If you got a problem, we can sit down and talk like men. I was gangster, disciple then, and they kept out my life. Now I got Christ. You think when I hit the streets, I'm thinking twice. See, all I keep hearing you say is I find your lyrics are. That sound like a full of yourself, degenerate superstar. Who cares about your bars? You taking that too far. God gave you that gift, but you acting like it is yours. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I'm big fan, what you hear? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I'm big fan, what you hear? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I'm big fan, what you hear?
Hey everybody, what's up? We are back here at 108 Praise Radio, the Triumphant Radio Show, where we are always voicing the gospel. If you are just tuning in, I have a beautiful guest with me tonight, Melissa January, and we've been talking about her journey from trial to triumph. Those of you that have been listening the first half, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with the microphone, so hopefully you can hear me now. But we are still on the road to just talking about what the experience is for women and men as we've gone through domestic violence and abuse, other types of abuse, and just what it's all about, and also Melissa's journey. And I don't want to get too much in detail about some of the specifics that happened to her, because I want you to get her book where she describes it all. It's amazing. I could not put the book down. But from a woman all the way from Germany here in the ATL, it's just amazing to have her here and just to hear what she's gone through and how she got here, and what she's doing now to inspire and bring passion to other men and women across the globe because of her story, but not just her story, but everything that comes with it, to just help people holistically, mentally, physically, emotionally, all those nuggets. And we have a caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
I am.
Hey, what's your question or comment tonight for the Triumphant Radio Show?
Hey, I just want to say hello to everybody. Also to Melissa. Melissa, I think you can remember my voice. This is your cousin.
Hey.
Wow.
Lexi.
Hey, Lexi. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, nothing but support. But I just wanted to tune in because I was listening to the show, and I'm proud of you about your book and your journey and everything, and I'm looking up to you. But also how people, I just don't want people to focus on, domestic violence as being hand-to-hand contact.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people to know that domestic violence has to go with, like, the way that you talk to somebody, the word of mouth.
Yes.
Like they say that your tongue is very evil.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But people just got to remember that we have to love one each other, especially for females. Females, we bash each other so bad, where we don't follow in the gospel, where we need to help one another.
Amen.
That's good. That's good. Wow, that's a good comment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you so
true.
much.
And thank you so much for calling in. Excellent comment. Excellent comment. And while she was talking, Melissa, what came to my heart, for those of us that are believers and that go to church and talk, when she mentioned the point, and we kind of said this at the beginning of the show, how when we talk about domestic violence, I mean, we're encompassing mental, physical, emotional, let's add the spiritual in there. How much domestic violence is in the church. And I'm not talking about beating up each other with the fist, as our caller just talked about, but how much have we hurt people by what she's saying, the words, yes, and the way we connect and make contact. Is there domestic violence in the church? Not talking about violence of the hand, the fist, the strangle, the push, the kick, but the violence of what we do with our mouth, the violence that we do, the hatred, the competition, the bitterness, the jealousy. Is there domestic violence in that capacity in our church? And if you have recognized and noticed it, just like a person who is a mandated reporter for child abuse, you are a mandated reporter, man or woman of God, to report it, to do something about it, to pray about it, and to bring peace and love and happiness to that situation, to change that atmosphere, to change that environment. When you look at the things of the world that have gotten into the church on that perspective, it should change your mindset of how we relate to one another, and as a result, change just the whole atmosphere, how we do things as believers in Christ. So many people decide not to continue to go to church or not to be connected. I know there's some times, when I was going through my situation, I was like, God, are you there? Because the church, no one at church, does anyone see this? Anyone know what's going on? No one at church is there, and I don't know, Melissa, if you can relate to any of that when you had to, unfortunately, we question God, or can you pull me out of this, as we're trying to find a way out? Have you ever experienced that?
I definitely did. I feel like there's only so much praying that I can do. I could just never understand why I couldn't get out of that situation. I was running up and down the street screaming for God to hear me and to hear my cry and to hear my prayers, but there was no answers until I did what I did. But then in the end, what God has done for me now, and I feel like I should have never stopped believing. I mean, but it was a time in my life where I really didn't think God was there anymore. I'm like, okay, how much darker a place can get? I'm away from my family. I'm away from my friends. There's no outside contact. I mean, I'm just literally in a shelter where I had to deal with $50 food balance a month, where I had to feed a child and get Pampers and diapers, and that was it. So I really said to myself, like, God, is this really how you want me to go down? Like, was this really my journey? And then, like I said, when I gave up on God, God showed up big time. I thought I was bad taking pills and, you know what, I can't do this anymore. But God said, no, I'm not done yet. And guess what? He did it 3 times.
Look at that.
I was in a coma 3 times. And he said, no, I'm not done with you. There's more to come. So after that 3rd time, there was no way I could ever give up on God. And I would love to be more involved in the church, but I feel like my ministry is outside of church. I feel like, sharing my story, sharing my word, I feel like I can help people a lot more, because I do feel like in the church you don't get as much as support as I would like, and so I feel like I do my part outside, and I think God, so far, he's okay with me.
He's blessing you.
He's blessed me a lot. Yes.
And it's good to be able to go outside those 4 walls and to be able to reach people. That's part of our service.
Yes.
That's our ministry. That's what we're called to do, and to be able to help. But I think one thing when I think about the different types of hurt and pain and abuse, from domestic violence to women that have gone to shelters, as we've talked about. I didn't end up at a shelter. I did end up in a suite, what do you call it, like a efficiency for a minute, a hotel efficiency for a minute, and some other things. But, you hear people, and time has gone by at this point, but I've heard people say, get over it. It happened then, get over it, move on, get over it. And it's easier, and if someone can respond to this, and if you want to call in and share your thoughts on this, 770-988-6461, please do. What are your thoughts on when someone tells you to get over it? Is there a way to just get over it, or how do we share with somebody that may have or has been going through, and they've had to talk about it in order to release that toxic from their body? But then they have maybe a family member or a mom, a dad, a homegirl, or someone at the church, somebody that says, get over it. Do we accept that? Just a question.
Nope.
Or do we say, okay, let me get over it and move on?
I cannot say that I would ever accept that. Unless you walked in my shoes, I really can't take your response to that too serious. Because there's, like I said, it's not just beating. A wound heals. I have scars all over my body. Guess what? They're healed. New skin came. But it's emotional abuse, is physical abuse, is spiritual abuse. I mean, some people, right. Some men or women, they make you stop believing in God. And I mean, once you stop believing in God, there's really nothing left to this world. Right. But like I said, there's so much more other abuse that we don't really touch bases on. But like I said, emotional abuse hurts more than anything. Like I said, these scars on my body, these cuts or whatever, they heal. Nowadays I look at it like, okay, that's a scar. That means I showed up for it. But if I think about the emotional abuse, how long it took me to just come to this point. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this book, it was never a book. I started writing things down. That's how I was able to move forward with my life. I began this journey, and I was writing things down as they happened. And one day, from my last relationship, nothing was left but a suitcase with a few things for my son. And in the first drawer, I put all these notes in. And this is what I had left. And at some point in my life, I asked myself, why do you still have these notes? You travel this journey and you should just burn it. You should never think about it. But for some reason, God didn't just let me throw those notes away. And like I said, English is not my first language. So for me to write a book was never a thought even, you know. And at some point I said, man, this is actually a great story. At some point when I really realized that I really went through this, I said, you know what, this is actually a good story. You know what, Maya Angelou, she's one of my biggest inspiration. And I said to myself, she's a writer. You know, she wasn't from here, but she has this powerful voice. And, you know, I was like, if I could just think about putting it in a book, I was like, oh my gosh, how powerful would that be? And even putting it in a book, putting it out there for the world to see. Yeah. Some people still won't believe you.
Yeah,
they won't believe you that you really went through this, you know. But again, it's not about them. It's about you. It's about your journey. And it's about what you are going to do with it. What has this obstacle taught you? What was this journey for? Let me tell you something. Everything, I do believe that things are happening for a reason, you know. And for me to be here today shows that I showed up for whatever came to me. Now, again, I am not special. Okay, I understand also everybody's not going to be a model, but guess what? You are born with a gift. There's something deep inside of you that you can't stop thinking about it. And guess what? It has something to do with that. You know, dig deep within yourself. Start at loving yourself first.
Right.
Let that sink in for a minute. Loving yourself first. Because I know for a fact that I had no clue what it means to love yourself. Even, you know, after surviving domestic violence, the first thing people say, well, you got to love yourself more than anything. I'm like, what does it mean? You know, we usually, especially in our households, we don't grow up loving ourselves. We grow up hating ourselves. We grow up hating everything about us. The hair, the big nose, the big lips. I grew up in Germany, but guess what? That I never really felt. I just didn't never have a feeling of purpose. I never had a feeling that I'm really here for a reason. Right. You know, I had to go through this so I can say now, okay, I understand what it means to go from trial to triumph. Right. And so now that I can tell you, you can do it too. You know, there is life after domestic abuse. And like I said, spiritual, emotional, financial, physical, there is life after. And like I said, it's not going to be easy. And I'm not sure, Sharita, we're going to talk about, it's not just that you're just going to get up and leave. Right. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, right.
But you have, if you are in this situation, if you did find yourself in just where you feel like, okay, I can't do this anymore, that's a sign, okay? A lot of the red flags I just ignored. Right. But that's one of the first signs. Start planning. Yes. Because a lot of times people don't get abused just because we're obnoxious and crazy women. We get abused because we believe in somebody else more than we believe in ourselves. And if you think about it, I was dependent, so I depended on him for everything. So guess what? If I didn't depend on him for everything, I would have been, you know, it would have been easier for me to walk away, but with nowhere to go. Exactly like you said earlier, nobody wants to go into a shelter. I go to a shelter now to advocate. I could never be in a shelter. So it's really like you have to start planning. You have to start planning a get out plan. Just that simple. And one thing I'm going to tell you guys too is even after you leave,
oh, Jesus, yeah.
There's the aftermath.
There is.
You know, and you have to be strong enough to deal with the aftermath. That's why I said, if you feel, you know, a lot of times when I hear these stories where women don't make it out, first I shout to the Lord that I made it out, but then I get so sad because I just think to myself, man, what could we have done as a community? What could we have done as friends? You know, one of the things that I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody tells you they're being abused, don't tell them they lying. Don't tell them, listen, that it takes so much courage to speak out to somebody. Trust them, help them out. And if you don't know how to help somebody, research the whole subject. Research and see what other people that went through, you know, buy this book From Trial to Triumph. You know, get with some organization, advocate with some of these women so you can understand what it really means to be in a domestic violence relationship. And like I said, celebrities going through it nowadays. So even the people that we look up to, even the people that we think they have it all. You know, it's out there. So get educated about it. Advocate about it. Advocate for it. You know, get with an organization. And like I said, please, 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 if somebody mentions to you, man, woman, kid, believe them. And then try to help them. Really, please do. Don't ever think nobody is just out here telling lies. Now, for those that really take advantage of that subject and meaning, you know, there's some females, some males out there that are like, oh, he touched me. And, you know, okay, we have to just disregard that part. You know, we just have to pray about it and keep it moving. But if somebody reaches out to you, I want you to take it serious.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because, and it's so funny because one person that I shared with that was in the church questioned me about it. And so from there, I didn't share any further details with them about my situation. So it's so important. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Melissa January, and we're talking about domestic violence over men and women. We're talking about her story, her book as an author, what she does now in terms of coaching, and so much more other successful endeavors. But we're touching the base right now on, what do you do? One thing she just brought up in terms of telling somebody. And so, yes, it's important to tell somebody. If they don't listen, don't tell them anything more. Go tell somebody else. And I'm just sharing this from experience, but the first thing that you mentioned was loving yourself. And you have to find that within you and make a decision and plan to go. And I did plan to go. And when I planned to go, I had to tell somebody else, who ended up assisting me to get out of that situation. And I almost felt like a little fugitive, but I got out. Praise the Lord. And that was just one situation. And so it's important. I thank you for sharing that part because some people don't believe you or listen. It's nothing to joke about. It's nothing to take lightly. And sometimes the victim won't tell you everything that they're going through. You'll only get a surface amount because there's parts of my story that, I'm sure family and friends just don't know about. But praise the Lord, we're here today. Amen. And we can help some others and keep building. So that won't believe you story is just really so true. But it's and I keep getting this in my head that we just have to be mandated reporters. So, and when I say that, I mean that my prayer is that people that are listening and watching are paying more attention to women and men and not making judgments if there is some different type of behavior you see from them, whether it's being more introverted, self-esteem. And then some people you may just never really know or find out about until later down the line. But just be careful. And thank God that our pain that we went through didn't turn even worse to place us behind bars or in a place, because there's some people that have been close to snapping and, have made their way behind bars. And now because of the pain they went through for years, now they're going through a different type of pain because they just wanted freedom from that first initial pain, And so it's just really a tough subject to talk about, but it's something that's important to be talked about. And I think that's where the Lord gave me Beauty Secrets event 2 years ago, because the Lord was showing me how there just needed to be, not only for me to keep telling my story, but for women to be out there to say, what is the secret to being beautiful? It's not your lipstick and your mascara. Your beauty is more than that. And those of you that have been through torment or issues, whether they were mild, whether it's self-esteem, or whether they were major, there's a secret for you to remember how beautiful you are. And yes, that secret is in Christ, but there's some women that are of wisdom that have got to keep stepping up to the plate to tell these young girls and to tell middle-aged women that your beauty is from within. This is how you stay beautiful. This is how you stay confident in who you are, being yourself, walking into your purpose and your destiny, not falling for things that you shouldn't. And if you do, it's okay to get on back up and try again. Because I don't think either one of us are perfect. We haven't lived perfect lives. We've fallen and we've had to get back up. But it's so important to recognize that, there's more to what we can do for each other as women and men. I love, there's a radio personality out there now on one of our gospel radio stations here in Atlanta. And I love the fact that he does something, I want to say every month or every so often, with men to keep encouraging and challenging them. And so this goes both ways. It's something that has to be ongoing. It can't just be we're having an anniversary for the church, or we're just going to have Men's Day or Women's Day. We have to keep things going in place. And if there are people in your church, in your circle, in your job place, around your circle of influence that have gone through but came out, those are some great key people to place in your spheres of influence to help bring other people to a place of freedom. And so, again, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Melissa January. Again, you've got to read what's in her book. And how can they get your book?
You can get it on Amazon, Melissa January. I should be the only one from Trial to Triumph. And it's also available on Kindle if you'd like to read online. And also you can directly order it through me if you want to hit me up on Facebook or IG. It's Melissa January on Facebook. And you can also reach me on Instagram, which is IM_Melissa January. And I will be able to send you a signed copy.
And I tell you what, this is what I want to do. If you, the first 2 women or men that send me a Facebook Messenger message that has listened to the show, if you send me a message between now and 9:15, I want to get this book for you. If you know somebody, if you yourself want it, I want to personally gift this book to you for you to read. It has to be the first 2 people that messenger me at Sharita Lovelace Ministries on Facebook. It has to be Ministries, not Sharita Lovelace. I'm going to be specific on this one. And let me know you watched the show. And I want to gift this to the first 2 people. I do want to add also, because again, this book birthed from going through violence, but also experiencing some deep dreams before, during, and after my experience. And I have some examples of some of the things that happened to me in my book, Sleeping Beauty, Dream Again, The Study of Dreams, Activating Destiny, because I really think that this is something that women ministries, women groups, shelters, organizations need to get. There's a journal in the back. There's a lot of things to-dos that are in the book for you to write through, to carry you through, to get you started on dreaming and believing in yourself again. It's almost like this goes hand in hand, and I'm going to gift you this book with this book, the first 2 people that message us in the inbox. Now, make sure you're just not messaging just because. We want you to read the book because we want you to get something out of it, share it, do a Bible study with it with the group, and follow and support the events that we're doing here throughout the Metro Atlanta area and just throughout the nation, as we travel and communicate and talk to different women and men across the world. So what are some final key things that you could share, Melissa, as someone who is a survivor, as someone who continues to be an impact to men and women across America, but has gone through a traumatic situation? What are some things besides loving ourselves and we planning to get out of that place where we can get or we can know that we can move on from our past? What are some things that you can share where it will help that man or woman move on from their past? Not meaning you forget it, not meaning you let it go, but you build from it, you grow from it. What are some maybe to-dos?
Well, I would definitely say I could give you 5 steps. My first step will be embrace spirituality. I know everybody is not believing God, but if you're listening to the show, hopefully you are. But there's a higher power out there. There's something that you believe in that's bigger than you. I want you to connect with it, even if it's meditation, even if it's yoga, whatever it is, whatever has a higher power of you, connect with it. I want you to be positive minded. Me changing my mindset has helped me tremendously in life. Looking at things positively, meaning like, okay, this is tough, but actually what is it teaching me? What have I learned from it? How can I move on from this? How can I stop looking at it like it's negative? How can I look at it as a lesson? Be patient. Oh my God.
That's good.
I still struggle with this one, but, be patient. Everything is not going to happen overnight. You have not found yourself in that situation. Like I said, it does not have to be domestic violence. It could be any situation that you found yourself, an obstacle, a challenge. Be patient with it. Create a plan for you. Write down a goal. And then try to figure ways out how can you get through this. Number 4, I would definitely say ask for help. Oh my God, I think this is the hardest to do, but me asking for help, me asking my sisters, can you help me? Can you get me out of this situation has saved my life. Sometimes, like I said, it's the hardest thing to do, but you have to do it. You have to ask for help. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel embarrassed, even in the moment. Please don't do it. Know that there are people out here with a good heart. Know there are people out here ready to help. Know there are people out here that God sent for you to help. So, but you have to do your once, you have to do a step. You got to step outside of your comfort zone and ask for help. So don't suffer in silence, ask for help. And then number 5, I would definitely say perseverance. So meaning like, don't don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. You know, I go by this hashtag, inspire before you expire, because I don't know what day is my expiration date. I want to make sure every person that I touch, every person that I come in touch with is inspired, not just by my story, just period. I want to inspire people to say, listen, there's life after whatever you are going through. There's more out there for you. You know, just try to really stay with whatever you're working on. It's a reason why it's on your mind. It's a reason why it's in your heart. It might not happen today, but it might, you know, it's just that one yes that you need to make things happen. So don't give up. Whatever it is that you are doing right now, keep doing it. Keep doing it. That was one of my biggest lessons that I learned. I don't care how big the obstacle is. I'm going to jump over it. If I got to crawl over it, if I'm going to hump over it, hell, if I'm not even going to move fast enough to even get anywhere close to it, I'm going to keep it moving. Okay, so inspire before you expire from Tyler Triumph. I'm not sure what your story is, but turn your mess into a message, your trial into triumph. Go from surviving to thriving. Whatever it is, keep it moving, move forward. There's a reason and there's a purpose in it all. And like I said, me and Sharita, we became authors. You know, we share our stories so you can become knowledgeable about other people, how they survive certain things. But like I said, there's something within you that you can take to the next step. You just have to believe in yourself. And it starts sometimes with first loving yourself. You know, believe in yourself. Start doing the things that's fun to you. If you find yourself chasing obstacles after obstacles or going through challenges after challenges, have some fun on the side with it, because life is going to happen. Listen, my life ain't perfect. My life is still happening on a daily basis, but I found a different way of how I'm going to approach this situation. So now I'm looking at things different. Now I'm looking at it, okay, that's actually not a negative. That's a positive. I'm going to get through this, but now how am I going to get through it? And then again, if you can't afford a life coach, you know, there's mentors out there, there's advocates out there, whatever you're trying to get into, there's groups out there. You can meet up with them. You know, they'll teach you. There's so many things out in this world. Start traveling, start working out. There's so much more. Don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck.
Don't stay stuck.
And
I love that.
If you just need a vitamin D on a daily basis, every morning I drop a nugget that's going to help you get through the day. I try, at least. You know, I'm very committed to keeping my Facebook very positive. That's right, the challenge guru. Because ain't no challenge guru hold me down.
and I'm telling you, go to her Facebook page, because every day you're going to see something from this challenge guru, and you're going to be inspired by this life coach. So definitely, you've heard her story, but this is the story inside of here. But in terms of a coach and all that she's doing, invite her out to your events to speak, to help, to develop, to impart, to empower all those that you need, that you know that will benefit from this powerful woman next to me, Melissa January. So follow her on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere you can. And inspire before you expire. That's her hashtag.
Think about that.
Inspire before you expire. Yes, yes, yes. And that is so important. That is so important, because we don't know our expiration date. We don't know what it is. And so as we are getting ready to conclude tonight's show, I want to thank you for listening to the Triumphant Radio Show here at 108 Praise Radio. Melissa,
thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy you came on the show. We got some work to do, girl.
We do.
We got work to do, but it's good, and we're excited about it. Again, I'm looking for my first 2 messenger messages on Sharita Lovelace Ministries, because I want to bless some people with Melissa's book tonight, and I also want to bless 2 of my books as well. They're connected in a way, and so it's almost like a little package I want to do today.
That's right.
I'm telling you, you're not going to put this book down. You will not put Melissa's book down. I didn't. I read it through. So whoever gets it, you're going to be blessed. We want to hear your testimony after you read it. Can I just say, if you are watching tonight, if you know somebody tonight, if you're listening only, if you're watching the replay when it comes on tomorrow, tonight, whatever, I just pray in the name of Jesus that God begins just to saturate your heart and mind, that where you feel broken or you feel uneasy or where you have gone through or going through, that you will believe and trust that God wants the best for you, that you are more than what man says you are. God says that you are everything, that your circumstances do not define you. God said there's more for you. You can be more. You can do more. I encourage you to grab hold onto the word of God, because it's sharper, it's powerful. It says just what it says. It does not return void. I don't care if you're in a situation and it looks dark and you see no way out. We were there and you can get out. Melissa told us tonight to get a game plan. You get a game plan. You think it through. You find someone you can trust. You tell them and you begin to start your journey to freedom. You begin to start your journey to exile out of Egypt. You get yourself to the promised land. You get yourself to the place where there is milk and honey. I promise you it's there. You're listening, you're talking, you're seeing to two women that have gone through some traumatic experiences, and we have made it. And God is using that testimony to bring women and men to a different place in their life. I think that's why we're so passionate and excited about it. Right. Not for any other reason, but to see you win, to see you go further, to see you be the best you can be, to see you live and thrive, to just remind you who you are, to sharpen you. Hey, you know what? Iron sharpens iron. You may need to sharpen us. We may need to just hear from you or see you, so support us. Come to the events, reach out. If you're not sure where to go or who to talk to, we just gave you 2 names of people that you can talk to or send a message to start your journey, your coaching journey, your process. And it's not just us. There's so many other beautiful men and women that are out there that want to help you. So don't turn the cheek away to as if there's no hope. There is hope. I just pray that God just comes to you tonight, and your dreams as you sleep begin to give you just sweet rest, begins to speak into your life, to begin to remind you what you are made for, to begin to speak and tell you what your DNA is of how you are made in your body, to remind you of your identity, to remind you that you're more than who they say you are, to remind you that you are the best of the best. You're the cream of the crop. You're the head. You're not the tail. You're above, not beneath. You will be the lender, not the borrower. You're going to be all that God has created you to be. You can get out of those situations. Your heart can heal. Will you remember some of the tormenting times that you've gone through? You absolutely will. But guess what? God is still God, and God will show you, him and them, that he's still God. He still sits on the throne, and he is still going to do everything he can to give you a life and a life abundantly. Take that to the bank and cash it. I encourage you tonight. Guess what? I want to see you next Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on the Triumphant Radio Show, here at 108 Praise Radio, where we are always voicing the gospel. Thank you for being with us tonight. I love you. God bless you. Remember, when you go to sleep tonight, don't just sleep, but dream and wake up winning. We'll see you next week. God bless you. Bye-bye.